meeting to order of Legislative Committee at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, September the 9th. Invocation, Commissioner Jones, would you mind praying?
Dear Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for this night. And Lord, I pray that you just be with us all as we do the people's business. Help us to be efficient with the time. Help us to be caring for our taxpayers, Lord. We ask all these things in your name.
Amen. Make a motion to approve the agenda with two items, the addition of the, you said the bond for the sheriff, and this one's already on. And this resolution is already on the audit, so, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approval of minutes from August 19th. Have a motion? Also move. I'll need
Second.
Second from Chairman Hine. This here.
This is going to be difficult.
Chairman Hodges, will you second that approval of the minutes?
All in favor, say aye. And,
Abstain.
I guess it will not be approved. We don't have a majority.
Well, I can't remember. Then there was some phrase we would approve it, or we would.
Like a continue.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Whatever, I can't remember the term.
It says the form, and
Okay.
We'll approve it. Motion to approve as to form. Commissioner Hine and myself were ayes. So abstain.
well,
Oh, the form again. Okay.
To form, I can vote, right?
Okay.
yes,
Passes unanimously. All right. Item 5 is election of chairman and vice chairman. Do we have any motions?
I'd like a motion to nominate Jeremy Mansell for chairman.
Okay, we have a motion for Chairman Mintz. What do we have any other motions?
I'll make a motion for Jerry Becker.
All right, we have a motion for Jerry Becker.
Do they have a second? Or?
You don't need a second.
no, yeah, no.
Okay.
I guess I'll take a vote. All those in favor of Commissioner Mansell, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor of Commissioner Becker, say aye.
Aye.
That was louder. That may be two.
I have the floor for, do I have a motion for election of a vice chairman of the legislature?
I'd like to make a motion for Tim Jones to be vice chairman.
I will not accept that nomination.
I'll make a motion for Jerry Becker.
I'll make a motion for Christian Miller.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Becker, and we have a motion for Commissioner Miller. All in favor for Commissioner Becker, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor of Commissioner Miller, say aye. Aye. All right, carries 4-1. All right, recognition of the public.
Ready for it.
Yeah, 5 minutes. If you state your name and address for the record, I think you know.
Yeah, I think we all know me by now.
Yeah.
I'm Robert Edens, 141 West Roberts Road. I'm here to talk about the pubs for the Lewis Head pubs. They've got two on the agenda tonight. I'm amendment for number 1, second leg, and amendment number 2, second leg. Both of these we have discussed, and I've sent out pretty much colored stuff this went to everyone, maybe Josh some out, and everybody saw them last month. I don't know if there's anybody here that did not see them. We have that PowerPoint showed the problems that we have with water and everything that's going on over there, and people pour houses down for me that is either on spring water or well water. There is no city water for them, and anything that goes in up there above will be contaminating their water source. We also had a police officer here last week that lives on that road and talked to, or last month, that talked to y'all and said that, look, even though they said there's been a study, the traffic is immense quite a bit since the dog store went in. We have a lot more traffic running up and down that road. It is not a 45-degree intersection. It is more of a 30-degree if you come from Portland. So even the school bus has to set on 109 before it can turn if someone's setting at the stop sign. We had a lot more people here this morning or earlier today, but they've all had to leave. The issue being is if they go through with putting storage units up there, all this goes to concrete and buildings. Right now we got ground cover to where the water can be absorbed up that way. Otherwise, with the photos and everything that I gave y'all last month, y'all saw that it floods everywhere else down straight down across my property and across my neighbor's property. And all down to the bottom where they was talking about it was taking out driveways and stuff on it. Also, that water, if it comes off concrete or the buildings, you're looking at contamination for their drinking water, and that's what no one came up with an idea other than putting a small retaining pond and nothing to shelter in between. This poses a big issue for a lot of us out there, and we had even done a petition from everybody in the neighborhood that was signed, and it went to the chamber commissioner. So I just want to recognize that we are still not wanting this done unless they come up with a whole lot something better than what they talked. I mean, we talked about birds, we talked about different things, but the people that's wanting to do it has not mentioned anything about doing anything to help us with that other than that retaining pond. Everything on that property, from directly behind the dollar store, probably about 50 foot away from the dollar store, drops off dramatically, and you can see that by the contour lines that the people showed that wanted to do this. So anything that goes there, unless there was a big berm or something like that to contain that water, or another way of taking that water other way, it's going to affect everybody else on that road. And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, sir. All right, Chris Griffin. State your name and address for the record, please. You have 5 minutes.
Chris Griffin, 3301 New Oak Road. I was asked, I came to talk to you last time about the bringing back the office of constable, and I was tasked with giving y'all some of the changes that have been made since y'all abolished it in 2010, and what they've done as far as education and training and bonding and insurance. And I submitted all that to Jeremy, and I don't know if that made it around to everybody. Wonderful. And so basically, to even become a constable right now, you cannot start doing any kind of law enforcement until you have your 40 hours of training, which is the same thing that is required of all reserve officers that they're using in White House, Millerville, Hendersonville, just a couple that I know offhand that are really struggling right now with the things. And then also some of y'all's worries about abuse of power and things like that, and then also stated statutes in there where y'all can revoke the law enforcement policy, the law enforcement authority of the constable if for some reason he did something stupid. And then also I went back and I looked and tried to find an article, any kind of issues with a constable making the news of screwing up in Tennessee since the 2010 incident in Sumner County. And I can't find anything where there's been any kind of lawsuits or, something filed to or something in the newspaper or anything else. But yet I have found multiple versions of county and city police officers where there has been issues. So the issue of just road vigilantism is just not what this is. I mean, we're dealing with the average age of a constable right now, because I asked on the Constable Association, is anywhere from 45 to 65. And so, this is basically old men just helping out, trying to help in the thing of doing the process serving, to help, but they have the options of coming in, helping out with the schools, to help being an SRO. They could come in literally as an employee of the school themselves and not have to make the cop pay, because people who do this aren't in this for the money. I mean, this role literally costs the city, the county, nothing. Y'all don't pay anything. There's no training fees. There's no out-of-pocket uniform. The constable has to pay for their own bond, and they're bonded themselves. And so they pay for their own training, their own firearm, their own uniform, their own gun, and all they're asking for is to be able to help the county. So if y'all have any questions for me, cool, but if not, that's all I'm going to say. Just please keep this open, because I really want to try to get this office brought back to Sumner County, and hopefully there's something we can do to make that up for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. All right, for the chairman, I have none. For the county mayor, he's absent. Whole business, item A is discussion of the Hendersonville Library. We're going on the next 12 months here. Mr. Law Director, I think we left it with you. I don't know what, with the negotiation with taking back what we voted on. I believe we had a vote, in a motion, a vote taken last month.
Yes,
Let's get back to Hendersonville.
I've communicated with the city attorney, and I've laid out the three options that were discussed. One is that they give us full ownership of the property with no reverter. We take over full maintenance of keeping care of the building and the surrounding property. Option two was that we surrender our ownership over to them. They take over full care, custody, and control of that building and cost related to it. And option three was we keep ownership the way it is and come up with a new MOU and better define how expenses are going to be allocated in the future. And I've actually talked with the city attorney. He's got to run it through his people. I've yet to receive an answer back.
All right, so without objection, unless you guys want discussion, I don't want to beat a dead horse. We've been beating this horse for 12 months. You gotta make a motion. You gotta make a motion.
Motion to discuss.
I do not anticipate, I'm
You gotta
sorry.
have a second. Second by Commissioner Becker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I just have a question. Where does it go if we don't come up with another suggestion? Just waiting on the city to come back with their, version of an MOU?
The feedback I've been getting, I don't think we're going to get a resolution to this, so at some point in time, I'm going to be asked to pursue other avenues.
That's what I figured. So the other thing I was gonna say to that was, last month, I was on that side, and I stood up and made a suggestion, and I don't know that it went anywhere, but I wanna try one more time from this side of the table. Can we not ask them if we can get rid of the reverter clause, but add in there that when the length of time expires to where their investment is expired? That's what this is all about. They've invested a certain amount of money in there, and we put some kind of clause in there saying, we guarantee you that library will be in existence for this many years at least, and make it to where their fear is that we're gonna kill the library and then they lose all the property and everything. So if we can alleviate that fear, maybe they'll just let it go. That's why, have we even explored that with them?
If I may, my position is this is a leverage tactic, and at the end of the day, I have been the presenter and I've gotten no response, no attempt to sit down and try to come to some sort of agreement. There's been no counteroffer. There's been absolutely nothing.
I just want to kill it and not make it keep going like this with the MOU.
I don't know, Commissioner Becker.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward with option 3, and if the city is not willing to go down that path, create an MOU, then we go back to option 2, and we just give the city the whole property.
It's not that simple.
I want to interrupt here. This was all discussed last month, and right now we're in limbo, all three decisions. At the worst, this process past year, we just keep the status quo of where we are. But we have this crappy agreement that stuff has been falling under the wayside, but the county has not abrogated the responsibility to pay for things just because we don't want a library being shut down. So we're just doing it. Mayor Clary has stated he wanted to get paid back half the money they gave. At one point, I think it was either for the elevators or the AC unit. I can't remember which one. I think it was elevators, claiming that he didn't feel that the city was responsible for that, being half owners of the building, but yet you have a major repair, and that's kind of the law director's interpretation of the law, on that ownership. So that's kind of where we've been with that. So, but the three options are, I guess, status quo, give it to them, which was an option. Commissioner Rogers had made that motion to do that, but then law director interjected. It's not that simple. So I see this as still, we're back in limbo of these three options of waiting to hear back what Henderson wants to do before we can really because let's give it to them, let's take it all on, or let's redo the negotiation or do nothing. So it's like we're just stuck in all this.
Do we have?
Are you done?
Does the city?
Because you were making a motion sign.
Yeah. So I mean, to your point, I appreciate the background. Does the city feel that we're waiting on them?
They've given me no.
Well, that was our motion last month, is for you to approach them.
I approached them again, and this isn't the first time I've
So
been
you guys
asked to
not getting
present that offer, and so it was resubmitted, the same offer.
And you've not heard back yet?
Correct.
I mean, we just met 2 weeks ago.
The same three
Yes.
options.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll withdraw my motion.
Commissioner Shea?
What does May Clary say that we owe him?
It's repairs against the,
Do we have a dollar, do we have a number?
I would defer to Mr. Long on that.
It was, I don't know, it's $4,000 or $8,000, I don't know.
So is the, if we were to pay some amount back, would has Mayor Clary indicated that he would waive rights to the property, and if we were to basically, according to what he said, make him whole, you know, for the, what he's put into the building, what the city's put into the building, would they be amenable to turning it over to the county? Have they indicated that?
No, they have not. I've gotten absolutely no response. The only thing that would be happening is I'm just modifying my original offer. That's all that seems to be happening here.
I guess I would posit this. I would not want to make this amendment without a number. Like it's, you know, if the number is astronomical, I wouldn't want to do it. But if I had a number, if we had a number in there that we could walk around, then maybe, you know, I would make a motion to submit as another option to request or to offer that amount to the city in order to, and with the contingency that they would, you know, upon receipt of that, they would quit claim the property.
There's
just need to know the
no problem with doing that from my perspective, but it doesn't sound to me like they even want to talk, is my problem. I'm getting no responses.
Is that a real motion though, that's on the table?
Well, it's not a motion, I don't have a number. I don't have a number, but I would like to know what that number is.
Call Tim out of order. Moderator doesn't know the number. I can't remember the exact number.
Was this question for Mr. Long?
Yeah, I can put a bug out here tomorrow.
That's fine.
Well, where we left off from the minutes was a motion and a second and a unanimous vote to have a law director research getting the property and maintenance of the city of Hendersonville with the county to continue to pay salaries of library staff. That was where we officially left off. I don't mean to vote on anything, I mean, but just what's not okay is just this limbo of this joint ownership that just hasn't been working. So I know Commissioner Schofield made that motion several times to give it, us take it on, the responsibility, and that's passed. I mean, we've got everything, and we've got, so I think, in my opinion, we're premature. This needs to go to old business because you need to hear from them, and we just had legislated, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I guess, so.
That would be correct, but I'm not holding any high hopes that I'm going to get a response.
So, all right, did you have a motion, Commissioner Schofield?
No, because I don't have a number.
All right.
So I don't want to do anything without that.
Commissioner Jones?
I may have a motion, going kind of towards what he's saying. If we're talking about an air conditioner unit and an elevator, we could put a number not to exceed on that motion, but it would have to be showing the actual bill for what he's asking about, so we know it's real money, not just a number that he pulled out of the air. So we could put a dollar amount on that, not to exceed X amount of dollars, $10,000, $20,000, and also see the bill if they would quit claiming it over to us after we made them whole. That's my motion.
A second, or?
And I don't mind if it dies if he wants to keep hammering on it, but that'd be a quick way to get it over.
What's the figure?
$20,000, not to exceed $20,000, but they have to show the bill to know that that's real money, not just a made-up number.
I'll second that, and sorry.
Go ahead and second.
Well, I'll second it.
Commissioner Miller, go ahead.
You really think they're gonna respond to that when they haven't responded to the other three? I mean, I think it's the.
Maybe, maybe not.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it gives them something else to fire with, is all I'm saying.
There's been zero response. They're spinning our wheels.
Yeah.
And it's,
Just giving them more more ammunition to go with, is all I'm saying. More options.
Commissioner Becker.
Who exactly has our law director been working with that hadn't heard back from?
I've been following everything through the city attorney.
Both,
Mr. Ray, is that right?
both myself and the law director went in January before the finance committee and spoke to the entire finance committee, the mayor, for their request, and laid this out. And, I mean, we've gone to the city of Hendersonville before a committee. So,
All right, appreciate it.
all right, we're gonna move back to old business. Do you make a second? Okay, so, there was a motion to, I'm gonna restate your motion, correct me if I'm wrong, to have the law director approach them with we will pay you back up to $20,000, not to exceed $20,000 for any air conditioning repair or, elevator repair, in order for them to just relinquish their claim on the property and quit claim deed it over to us. Is that what you said?
Yeah, but we want to see the bill.
Well, we want to see the bill before that.
That's why it's up to.
Discussion.
Just for awareness. So if they quit claiming over us, then the county is paying for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Seems obvious, but I just wanted to double check.
It's been discussed multiple times. That's the risk. It's a big burden.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question too, just to catch up on this board? Has that been the, will of this board to more have wanted to take on the library than wanted to give it away?
It's vacillated.
I know, that's why I want to make sure I'm not ruining work that we've done in the past.
Here's,
Good.
so the spirit of this has always been, at least from my point of view, that I don't think we care that much who owns it. It's more that it's this joint thing that's causing the limbo. And whether it's us or the city or whoever, one entity maintains control, upkeep. It does away with all of these arguments of what is maintenance versus what is a repair, right? I mean, we just, one entity owns it. That's the thrust of it. And so we've to Mr. Mansfield's point, we've offered several different things here, and now we're putting another one up there.
But they've all been an effort to take it or give it. We don't really care.
Yes. Okay. I don't want to keep beating this dead horse because I'm just going to ask you to not ask him away on this one for tonight because this has been a year. Go ahead, Mr. Becker.
I'd like to make an amendment and give it, we pay up to 20 and quit claim it to town.
Second.
Give it. Did you, that's your second?
Mm-hmm.
So the amendment is, we would pay up to the 20,000 for the elevator and, what was the other?
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning. And then we would quit claim it to them. Yeah, that's the amendment.
All right. Any more discussion on the amendment? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Mr. Hoffman, I'm going to abstain on my second, so I'll be an official abstain. So we got 3 yeses and a no and a no, abstain. So I guess that dies.
Okay. Well, now it's back
Now
to
you're back to your main motion.
which was the same thing, but
All right. Main motion is to we keep it and pay them up no more than $20,000.
Hold on. Did my amendment fail?
It did.
You now on to.
no, I voted for it.
It was 3.
And there, I was abstaining the 2 days.
So it's 4. Oh, okay. My bad.
Anyway, so all in favor of Commissioner Jones's motion?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nobody wants. I don't understand what this direction we're going. I'd make better motions if I did.
I'm going to say, yes, just so you can move forward, because this is just for you to move forward, to talk to them.
So if I may, for clarification's sake, I'm modifying our last offer to pay expenses up to $20,000 based on proof of payment and them to quit claim to us with, I'm going off of what the prior quit claim
With no
was,
reverters.
there's no reverter.
Correct.
Okay.
We just went through general office and I went through that. All right. That just gives you another thing to discuss with them. It's only for discussion point. All right. Item B, you have a second?
Second.
All right. All fair say aye. Any opposed? All right. Who's first in the queue?
I'd like to get in queue, and I think I'll direct it to you, but Mr. Hyde may have some background on this. I genuinely don't know anything about constables. Maybe this is a good idea, maybe it's not. I would just be interested if.
You weren't here last month, were you? You and Ms. Ledley, they had a whole presentation, so you know where to go.
I'll go back and take a look. But Mr. Hyde, I don't know if Mr. Hyde has some background, or like, what is the need that we're trying to fill here? And what are we trying to, why did we get rid of it? And then why do we want to bring it back now?
Well, very quickly, because I'm really tired and want to go home too, but, having been a constable in Sumner County, back in the early 70s when I first came to Hendersonville, I can tell you part of the problem with what was happening here that I think would be cleaned up under the, new situation. You would have constables are elected by district, but they are able to enforce the law anywhere in the county. And what would happen is we had one particular constable in the northern part of the county who would come down in Hendersonville and park on Galvin Road issuing tickets to people in Hendersonville because they didn't elect him. The people in the northern part of the county elected him. And it was a fee basis. Constables are not paid except by a fee. So they got their money by serving papers or issuing tickets just like an officer or anyone else. So there were a lot of things like that that happened and was going on. And then counties had an option of, under the law that was passed, of abolishing constables or keeping them. And Sumner County, as a result of some situations like that, just chose to do away with the office. I think all of that has been corrected now by, and I had the privilege of talking with Chris about this. I think that's all then would be done away with the training and everything else now. But that was the problem.
I'm going to interject. Chris had approached me back in July, I believe, and just asked to have a chance to put it on the agenda just for discussion. And this is not something, this is just to give them a chance to present their case of like what's positive about it, what's negative. I will note on page 14 on the removal of law enforcement powers that you can remove, I'll say, law enforcement powers if there's concerns of any kind of abuse for arrest or, I guess writing tickets, I assume, stuff like that. So that where it could be only, I assume, a function in where they might serve warrants or stuff like that, and they do those types of things as well. They did get paid, I think it was, $1 or $2 per thing that they delivered. So it's not like they're doing it for money, really, and they provide all their own equipment. So it's just a question of with Sumner County had it, and you guys want to suspend the rules to allow him to speak and answer any questions, we can do that for Chris. I don't know how many counties have constables. I can't remember from the discussion last time. I can't remember if that was asked or not.
How much of the suspended is?
We have a motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Becker. Motion to suspend the rules for Mr. Griffin to come up and address us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Griffin, how many counties have constables right now?
I don't know, I don't want to plan, I can pull it up, but it would take a few minutes, and y'all don't have that
Sure.
tonight. But I'll be happy to send it to you tomorrow and let you know for sure. The fee for, writing tickets is, they make $1. So, no constable's gonna write a ticket to go to court, and, so he's gonna write the ticket, which he has to pay for his own ticket book.
if they would write a speeding ticket, so like, if they're in the city of Hendersonville and they write a speeding ticket, then they go to the city of Hendersonville court?
Yes,
So they would just have, but they can go all around the county
anywhere in town.
and write tickets for the, whoever it is, city or county courts?
Yes.
I never went to city court because at that time Hendersonville was not a city. We went to general sessions, but I guess it would be the city, court.
So, and then if they were to serve a warrant, who, like,
They go out of the warrant's office, I mean, they work hand in hand with the DAs.
okay, so they would be given,
Yes.
they went on their own, go to.
No, I mean, that's the whole thing, it's not like the Wild West, I mean, they basically are just picking up the slack of the smaller things that would free up the sheriff's deputies that don't have the time to go do all this minor stuff, to go serve a warrant on somebody for, petty theft or something like that, something that they could eat out actually doing the bigger jobs.
Thank you.
So just for the record, the Constable Association says 49 counties in Tennessee have them. In the state, yeah. A total of 175 constables, so I guess 2 or 3 for county. Question I had was, you had mentioned something about SROs.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of talk about what it takes to train officers and then extra training and evaluations for SROs. And this would alleviate, or some deputies of having to do that and focus in other places. Is there counties presently doing that where some constables are working as SROs?
I know that in the city of Columbia, the guy that was in here last time, he has done SRO work, like fill-in at the schools and stuff. That's the only one I know offhand.
And they would have the same training that our current SROs have? Is that a requirement of the state or the sheriff's office, or who?
Most of this stuff has been set forth by the Constable Association, so you can be certified as a constable through them. You have to have these minimum requirements.
But SRO training?
You would have to go get it.
And it would be required by who? The school?
The school,
Make
yes,
sure
the school
that
would have to hire you.
training?
Yeah.
The,
The school would have, you would have to prove that you've been certified in that. And
currently, the constables must, according to state law, must complete 40 hours of in-service course for every 12-month period. A future change to the requirements according to this is that they're working with the state legislature to establish a new 128-hour of police training for newly elected constables.
Yes.
And that course would have to be completed in the first year a new constable enters service. So quite extensive compared to Chairman Hines' days. Chairman Hines.
I would have to be, I'm not opposed to seeing the constables have some power in helping schools, events and things of that sort, but I would be totally opposed to them working as SROs because I happen to have been the superintendent of schools in 1988 when we were just beginning to add police officers to schools. And we had the city of Gallatin that served Gallatin High School. We had the city of Hendersonville that served Hendersonville High School. There were other cities talking about adding officers into schools. We found very quickly that what the attitude of officers happened to be in Gallatin was maybe softer than what it was in Hendersonville, or harder in Hendersonville than what it was in Gallatin. Some things overlooked in Hendersonville that might have been enforced in Gallatin. If we could see we were headed for a train wreck. So I instituted a study committee that adopted the sheriff's department, which is a unified count of police force enforcement through the whole county that would be equally and same standard force throughout the schools. Worked beautifully, coming through a unified system like that rather than 6 support that.
I mean,
angle of it.
could I amend that? For that, they're not the only, hey, I'm learning time, I've been here for 6 hours. So, no, if they're not the SRO, but some of the larger schools, and we're only able to allocate one officer, but you could have an SRO as a backup, a constable as a backup to him, or to help on days like pep rallies, days where there's going to be huge events come in, but you're paying this guy janitor pay, and and you're not, because he's going to have to be hired by the district, by the school himself that day to come in, and all he's going to do is back up your highly trained SRO, or give the constable the option to train with the sheriff's department. When they do their SRO training, maybe he could serve as, if that guy's going to be out that day, and the sheriff's department doesn't want to allocate another thing, maybe they can call the constable to come in and fill it for one day, just as a help or a backup, or there as an extra man for the pep rallies, for the football games, for the stuff that is, the assemblies when they're going to have all these big things in. That's one thing.
I'm not opposed to what you're saying. I'm opposed to that element. If it was a carnival or some sort of thing where it could help, but being an SRO, the fact that the constable has the authority, the same authority really basically as a sheriff's deputy or the sheriff of the county, they would really have to do what anyone told them to do in a school setting. I hope they know what to deal with the problem differently if you had a Southern person. So for that particular thing, I really wouldn't want to go backwards on that.
I'm with you. Whatever they can do to help.
So, I don't know what removal of law enforcement powers means to the county legislative body. Is either to sue this, or I know it takes a 2/3 vote of the county legislative body and at 2 consecutive meetings if the county even wanted to reinstitute constables. But so just help me understand. There's really no taxpayer dollars involved with enacting a constable's, I'm going to say program for lack of a better word. I understand if you're doing warrants and you're taking things off the sheriff's plate, frees them up for safety issues to be back on the streets. Obviously, they put a lot more protections in place versus on 2010 when Chairman Hyde was on the commission, they got rid of it.
Yes.
Because of the problem with the constable program.
They had no training. They also didn't have the psychological evaluation that you had to go
I did
through.
read that you have to have a psychological evaluation to even be considered, be on the ballot to even pull your petition for an election, to have that kind of background. So, it's, I haven't spoken with the sheriff about this yet. I'm going to be having lunch with him soon. I'm curious to ask this. Have you guys spoken with the sheriff?
I did speak with him and tell him that I was interested in bringing it back, and he didn't give me a yay or nay of how he felt. The DA didn't like it, but he told me he was willing to listen to the differences that they had done, and I tried to talk to the mayor about this stuff on it.
Do you know why the DA didn't like it? He
was on the original vote back in 2010, and so he didn't. He just said he voted to abolish it back then. And
he's going based on.
Yes. Yeah. And but he said that he would be willing to. He said, I can't say that I support it right now at all, but I would be willing to listen to what you guys say. So
the sheriff's office was in favor of abolishing it at that time.
Correct.
Not now, I'm speaking of that.
Commissioner Beck.
So real quick, I see where it says the number can't exceed half the number of county commissioners. We got 24, so it can't exceed 12. But in your mind, as you're going through this, what are you thinking the number of constables would be?
I think we start with like 2, give it a shot, and just see what happens. 2 to 3. Or 4 if you wanted to break up how they do it in Wilson County. They have 4 constables, and so they just break it up north, south, east, west. 1 constable for each.
Well, I think that's sort of 4 is sort of what I was sort of thinking.
The commission draws the districts.
Yeah,
the commission wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I believe the commission can even appoint a constable if they want to, but they can definitely take the power away if they're doing
constable program be, catered towards, the duties be catered towards what the commission wants to focus them towards, like, say we just want you to serve warrants to alleviate sheriff's deputies, that's all we want to do, or this and this, everything but that. Can we pick what we want you to do with it?
I don't want to say yes or no on that. I want to think y'all, I think there's an option for y'all to limit any power, but I'm not sure. I think the Tennessee State Constitution says that they have all the power of the law enforcement officer.
I think that would be key to the vote passing or not, because people want to know what kind of powers we allow you to have. And
The same power as the cops.
no, but I mean, the sheriffs and the DAs and everybody else is going to want to know those questions too. I mean,
It's
something worth looking into. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it for the reason I'm trying to bring it back. But I mean, but I don't know how the other counties would like that, and I don't even know if it's possible with the state constitution.
Well, maybe just seeing what other counties do as far as this county uses them for this and this, and the general consensus is they're used for these basic items or something like that. Maybe that'd be helpful to know.
And I think that's what they pretty much do right now. At least the constables that I've had conversations with, most of them just work in the civil warrants office and help out with that. That's 90% of their job. Steve Byram said last month, he said he's been a constable for 15 years and he's wrote one ticket. So that's not his focus job.
Perfect.
I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, we want to bring it back in discussion, we're in discussion right now,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I was.
Moderator.
I would just like to point out to the commission, I'm the half empty glass guy here, but I don't know what liabilities involved. Are they agents of the county? You made a comment about being hired by the school for the day to perform those functions. So, and I may be creating work for myself here, but there seems like some serious liability issues that we need to get over, because if I were a constable, I'd want to find some way to be under the county, because there'd be a Governmental Tort Liability Act statute that would cap anything that anybody come after me with. So
I know they have to
throw
have
that out there for food for thought.
They have to have a bond.
Yes, you have to be bonded and provide that. But what liability do y'all have for the sheriff?
We get sued all the time.
Okay, I mean, but the sheriff's job is a whole lot more involved in law enforcement, in law enforcement, of actually going out and doing the job, of putting themselves at risk with the people. In 99% of the time, the constable is not going to be near at that level. I mean, that they're doing. I mean, we abolished constables because one guy screwed up around here, and that's. I mean, I'm sure there was more involved, and you obviously know a whole lot more about it than I did. But I mean, Nixon did Watergate. We didn't get rid of the president. We need somebody to, give it a shot. Let the people come in and help. Let them try to save the taxpayers some money, and actually let our deputies who are already overworked, because I talk to a lot of them, and give them a chance to do their job and take some of the stuff that they don't want to mess with off their plate.
Well, I don't disagree with it being the intent side of this is, well, what if a guy gets shot serving a paper that's a county paper? Do we have any risk? Do we have any liability? Are we responsible for any bill? I don't know the answer to these questions, but it's definitely something I think needs to be vetted.
I will have, that'll be something I have to research, sir. I mean, all your buddies helping me do this. Obviously, I'm not smart enough to handle all this stuff.
Yeah, and I'll do the same thing, because I'm not for or against, I don't care either way, but.
I'm definitely starting to like it. You're coming toward me. I keep coming, you're gonna keep liking it.
Any other questions before I bring us back into session? Any other questions? All right, thanks, Chris. I'm going to bring us back into session. Commissioner Baker.
And I think it's more of a recommendation to keep it on old business, but I would like to talk to the sheriff as well, and then that would give the law director time to look at the
I was going to suggest the same thing. So.
Can we also research whether or not it could be done for a trial period or something like that?
You're dealing with state laws. This is not like we can do it willy-nilly, and I don't think you can point necessarily. I read through this, and I think it's,
No, I want to know what's.
only if there's a vacancy, so yeah, but I mean,
There's a whole bunch to jump through to make it happen, and you can't just undo it
yeah, it's not just,
easily.
yeah, I don't think you need to do a trial run.
No, I'm saying along the way, can we figure out if a trial run is in the cards in the future if we do turn this on? It's always.
Looks like it.
Motion to discuss?
No,
Commissioner Miller?
no, I want to discuss. I was going to agree with Mr. Representative.
All right. We're gonna keep this all old business, so, all right, good for discussion. Veteran Service Report presentation. Mr. Oakey. It is in your packet. Audit Committee standing rule change regarding members. Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion. Do I have a second? Just discuss or approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Got a motion to approve. I'll go ahead and second that then, so. Any discussion, Mr. Baker?
Yeah, want to make sure I understand. I read through it. Someone told me about it, but I think when I read through it, it's opposite of what at least I thought it was. So this resolution is to bring this in line with what, our standing rules. So this is changing our standing rules.
To come in line with
Change
state
the
law.
standing rules to conform with our previous resolution from 2012.
So in 2012, it included specifically the budget chair and the highway committee chair.
Yes, sir, that's also
Yeah.
leaving the,
Yeah, and that, yeah, so that's, I originally thought it was going backwards, where it was going from those to, like, two commissioners at large, if you will.
and the reason why we're doing this is, it has to be approved by the comptroller, and the previous 2012 resolution was approved by the comptroller, but these rules have not been. I'm just trying to make sure that we are compliant with that, with this.
Would we be compliant, I'm just making this as an example, but I'm using as an example, chairman of the budget committee or designee, like if I happen to be that chair, could I let another budget committee member serve on this, or it has to be the budget committee chairman?
I mean, I think if you weren't available, I think the vice chairman, would be able to serve in that capacity.
Okay, I just want to know if I made an amendment or a suggestion here, would it make this resolution be non-compliant with what?
It would.
It
Yes.
would? Okay.
So it has to be.
It has to be this verbatim.
This is TCA.
Yeah, that's basically my question. So it has
We're getting our rules in line with TCA in the original resolution, which was, realized this has been off for a while. I guess,
Yeah.
however long the rules have been there, like.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Long and Mrs. Bergdorf for bringing this to our attention, in getting this figured out.
All right, we got a motion, we got a second to approve.
Can somebody just give me a brief overview of what changed? What was, what is going to be?
The standing rules improperly put what the makeup should be. So we're going back and fixing it to what the comptroller approved, the state approved language.
We're modifying the standing rules to get in compliance with state law.
Yeah.
That's,
So simple.
And this also, just to make super clear, not only does it do that, it also brings the duties, responsibilities into line with what is outlined in Resolution 1203-01.
Comply with state law, I'll run what it is later, I guess.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item C, Law Director's Report on the Brown Park codicil. We had just kind of tasked you to, some questions last time. I know this is in general ops, been thoroughly debated and discussed there, and it's still in general ops. And I know, budget has it on their agenda for Monday, so I don't want to belabor this point. Any report, Mr. Law Director?
nothing that hasn't been stated and restated by me on multiple occasions. We're still, we still don't have the funds, and I guess it's still in disagreement with the trust position on how things should be handled from this point forward.
I just have one thing,
Motion discussed.
motion discussed, second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Commissioner
And I apologize. I just want this to be, and I think it's been stated on record. And I know Mr. Ryan is speaking on it. Have you found any record of the county commission approving the gift to receive this gift?
No.
Okay. So this is another, I'm talking through some things that I spoke with Mr. Ryan about, but I just kind of like to get a little record. If this is going to matter in a week, it wouldn't matter in a couple hours. My understanding from Mr. Ryan, I have not had a chance to speak with you about it, but is that in spite of that, because of the time that has lapsed, because of the several discussions that we've had, and because probate has been closed, among other things, that it is not prudent to attempt to divest ourselves of the property. Is that also correct?
Here's the thing, the county does not exclusively own the house. The county has the obligation of maintaining the house with the funds that were set aside, the $500,000. And the wish was to have the house be maintained in perpetuity with using the $500,000 as the seed money for that, and it to be the centerpiece of a park.
Right.
Now, I know Mr. Long has done a lot more research, and he's actually gone over the report he wants to do Monday with me, so I won't repeat myself and steal his thunder, I guess. But that's the way things stand. We haven't received the money. We're not in compliance. The ask they're making, if they were to get the money, would technically have to be some sort of general funds.
Yeah.
It'd have to be absent of this. We still need to get the $500,000. And to your point, the commission still has to ratify the acceptance of the $500,000 gift and the responsibilities that go along with it.
Okay. That was really, yeah. And I've had several discussions with Mr. Long about it. It won't take us any longer here tonight. I know he'll go through his thoughts on it.
And we did discuss that in general office last week and went through the TCA code on accepting it and figured out that we did not accept it. The county commission never did that either, so.
Is there any action for us to take tonight with regards to, like, what if we don't ratify that gift?
If we don't ratify the gift, we're in a whole other. Does that nullify the technology trust? I really don't have an answer for you, and there's so many moving parts to this.
Because we didn't ratify that one either, right?
Well, we've already taken item number 1 and not done what was asked of us in the will. So what does that do with number 2? And it becomes a whole reinterpretation of the will. What happens to they call it rest and residue?
Well, the reason I'm asking is because several citizens expressed that they would sue the county on behalf of things not being done right. And does that give them grounds that we've done things improperly to follow through with that?
I would not entertain those questions for the mere fact that I don't want to give anybody else ideas, and I've got a duty to protect the commission. So,
well, the reason why I asked is because I want to protect us too.
I understand. Unless you want to go to executive session tonight.
No. Just that I just want to see how important it was that we do ratify that.
It's a requirement.
Yeah.
So whether we like it or not, it's a requirement.
Any further discussion on this?
I don't know if I can even make this motion. I would like to make a motion to ratify the acceptance of this gift contingent upon the outcome of our budget. I don't know if I do this because it would contingent on the outcome of the next budget meeting and some changes that we need to make to the MOU.
Can I make a comment real quick before you do that?
I want to, go ahead.
This everybody else that's picked it up, really, it's gotta go through budget before it gets back to commission in October. So I think that's, everything else you can try to move through, but that's, you gotta kick it up and they're required to do it by October.
Chairman Hine.
I was just gonna make one comment, and that is that I would be very cautious about any kind of resolution that we want to present or make, because we may end up obligating ourselves when we're not obligated at all now, because I would contend, or I'd like to hope that our attorneys could contend in a court of law that the Board of Education holds their property, no matter what anyone else has said in a will or whatever. They own their property. It is deeded to them. Only they can sell it.
It's deeded to both. I just want to be clear.
The deed
Yes.
is in the name of both.
Yes, it's not just to the schools, it's both of us, we're joint owners for everything.
Have we seen the deed?
Yes, it's been in all the packets.
Well, we're in a hole then.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, this is in budget, I mean, Commissioner Jones.
Foreseeing a little preview of what may be coming in budget, would ratifying that gift totally void the MOU? I mean, the MOU, in my opinion, is already void.
But we don't have an MOU, it's not.
Right, there is no MOU, but Commissioner Shelf was talking about modifying an MOU.
Well, and that, I mean, so
There is.
to be clear, we are not putting any previous MOU in any packet in budget. We don't.
Okay, I didn't see an MOU in the budget agenda for tonight, so is that,
That's exactly right.
okay, I just wasn't sure.
Okay.
I mean, that was, first I heard of it, so I didn't know, I don't know if you guys heard.
I just was trying to maybe hit something off at the pass, but, there is no MOU.
Well, without objection, I would suggest just keeping this in the old business for next month, so just get a report.
Yeah.
Quick question. There is an MOU document that exists, but are we suggesting that it never got formally approved, so there's no MOU?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, item D is gonna be, I guess, the sheriff bond. Have a motion? Motion by Commissioner, Hyde, second by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, I guess full commission. Other items of zoning, A, B, C, and D, are all, A, B, and C are second readings, so those will move to the, full commission. And item D is a first reading, it will stay in legislative for October. Anything that we have to vote on that, so that's for docketing, and there is.
Pat, question? Could you
Yep.
quickly catch me up on what D is? You said you already had one reading. When was that?
This was in, August of legislative, was a first reading. No, this is the first reading of this,
Yes.
of this month.
Items A,
D.
B, and C have gone through first reading last month.
I called